Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the new ColourPop It's My Pleasure eyeshadow palette. As always, I will be giving you guys my thoughts on the palette, the finishes, and just everything that you want to know. I'll also be sharing the 3 looks that I created with this one palette and giving you guys some comparable shades, everything like that. So if you guys are interested, then just continue watching. So let's start off with some product info. This is a new 9-pan palette. I have been loving these monochromatic palettes that they have been coming out with. I'm so excited for ColourPop this year. I want them to do the whole rainbow, and I think it's just going to be so satisfying to see. I'm really excited for like a green one. I feel like they will come up with a green one very soon. I love the Ooh La La, I love the brown sugar, I love the Ma, I love the Soul. So these like 9-pan palettes I just really like and I just vibe with. They are just my kind of cup of tea. I love being monochromatic. My nails are purple for today's video. It's my vibe. But anyway, you can get this palette for $12 US. Again, 9 shadows. 3 of them will be matte, 1 of them will be a satin, and then the rest remaining 5 are all metallic / shimmer shadows. In these 9 shadows, 4 of them are already existing in single pans, and I was able to kind of compare 3 other shades to other shadows from ColourPop. When I first saw this palette, my eyes automatically went to the shimmer shadows. They have so much dimension to them, very unique, and apparently purple is the color to make brown eyes stand out. I personally like to disagree. I think green is the color to make brown eyes stand out, but you know, that's what I read in magazines when I was younger. I really do like the mattes in here as well. For sleeper, surprisingly, I was really surprised by this because a lot of dark purple eyeshadows, it's very hard to get right. I feel like a lot of the dark purples from ColourPop, I would say like 60% are patchy, but for this one I'm gonna say it's like 90% good and 10% patchy. And at that point I feel like it's my eyes, because for the most part this purple sleeper, it goes on so nicely, so easy to blend, very dark, very smoky. There was one time where I had an issue where it did come off a little bit patchy, but that was just one time, so it might have been like my eye. But for the most part, I'm very surprised about this eyeshadow because a lot of the purples in ColourPop eyeshadow palettes, they can be a little patchy, and it comes with that. Not even just ColourPop, just other brands in general. I don't know why dark purple is just very hard. It was such a dream to blend out. You can see how dark my eye look is, but it was just so easy to do this eye look. It was just like whoosh, and it was easy. So all in all, I really do like the finishes. I like the shades. I think they did a good job with, you know, creating this monochromatic palette. Although I do wish they could have taken out what, maybe 1 shimmer and added in like a matte fluorescent bright purple. Just like the Ooh La La palette, how there was that bright pink. I feel like they should have done that with this as well. So for me, maybe just like 1 less shimmer, 1 more matte. That's just me being very nitpicky. But all in all, I really do like this palette. I have a lot of fun creating monochromatic looks. That being said, I think this is a great palette. I also want to mention that although there are 4 existing shadows, if you wanted to get those 4 existing shadows, it is cheaper to get this palette. Even though the pan size might be a little bit smaller, I think for the single shadows they are $4 US or $5 US. Getting this palette is cheaper even if the pan size is smaller, because in reality, when are you ever going to hit pan on a shimmer shadow? So even though if there are existing shades in palettes, maybe it is cheaper to get it in this palette. You get other shadows with it. It comes already done for you. I don't think necessarily it is a bad thing to have existing shadows in here. I just think ColourPop should mention it. I did watch their swatch party, and I know that Jordan did mention Pretty Cruel is already existing, but for the other 3, it wasn't mentioned in that video. And I think with the swatch party, a lot of people, I feel like, go to their channel to see what their next launch is about. I go to their video to know what it's about. I wish they would just mention it, but again, I don't really think it's a bad thing there are existing shadows. And slowly moving that along, we're going to talk about the comparisons and dupes. With this palette, I found that with my comparable shades, they really are just comparable. I think for fan fiction, I actually found a dupe for it, But other than that, everything was just, I'm just comparing so you guys can get a general idea of what this eyeshadow will look like. So the first shadow in here is called Kitten Fish. I actually don't have a comparable shade to this, nothing like it. It's a very pretty light, like pastel purple, and it's super pigmented. It works amazing. I love this shade, very, very unique. We then move on to Do or Dough. I did find a comparable shade from the Sweet Nothings palette, which is a discontinued palette, which kind of makes me agree to more the point where this palette is very unique because Sweet Nothings is now discontinued. So even if you wanted to compare it to that shade, you can't even get that palette anymore. So Do or Dough, that was the only comparison I could find. I actually feel like ColourPop doesn't have a lot of purples. Like when I was trying to find dupes, not a lot of purples came up. I think a lot of mattes, but a lot of shimmer purples didn't come up as much. And then the third shade, Pretty Cruel, obviously I already mentioned that this is an existing shadow, so you can buy it in a single shadow if you wanted to. And this shadow also comes in the Sweet Nothings palette as well. Moving along, we have Bare Minimum. I compared this shade to Poison Apple from the Disney palette and September from the Perception palette. Again, just comparing. This shade is super pretty. It's almost like a purple cranberry. Then we move into Earth Shine, which is already an existing shadow. Chicklet, I couldn't find a dupe to this as well. Although this kind of purple you probably can find in other brands, not from ColourPop that I have seen or that I own. Maybe like there's a single shadow that might look similar to it. But in my collection, I don't have anything like this. Then moving along to the last row, we have Mr. Sandman, which is an existing shadow. And then we have Fan Fiction, which I did find a dupe to, but it also came from a discontinued palette. I duped it to the shadow Minty from the My Little Pony palette. I think this looks exactly the same, but like I said, it is now discontinued. Then we have Sleeper, which again is an existing shadow. So if you wanted to get a really good dark purple shadow that's not patchy, you could just buy it in a single shadow. So that pretty much concludes my comparable shades and my dupes. You will see that a lot of the comparable shades that I did compare it to are from discontinued palettes. I think that says enough. I'm gonna stop rambling. I always feel like I'm going in circles with these videos. All in all, this has my recommendation. If you want a good purple palette, this is a good one to have. So now we can move along to the swatches and the 3 demos. Starting off with the first look, I'm going to be taking the shade Fan Fiction, and this is going to be our transition shadow. I'm going to place that right into my crease using windshield wiping motions, right from the outer corner into the inner corner. We really just want a whole wash of this. I'm also going to drag it out towards my brow tail, creating more of like a cat-eyed shape. And while we're here, I'm also going to bring this shade on to my lower lash line, just smoking it out. And I'm going to make sure I'm connecting the shadows at the outer corner as well. And now I'm just taking the shade Sleeper, and we're going to put this at the outer corner of our lid first. Wherever you place your brush first, that's where the product is going to be most pigmented, and that's where we would want it. So I'm going to focus it at the outer corner first, and then I'm slowly going to bring it all the way in to my inner crease, just slightly when there's not too much product left on my brush. I'm also going to run this on my lower lash line as well, just at the outer third. I'm not going to bring it in. I've been really liking doing this technique where I just make my outer corners look very, very dark and smoky. And now just taking the shade Kitten Fish, I'm gonna put this in the inner third of my lid. Usually I would place like a shimmer shadow here, but I thought I would switch it up, use a matte, keep it all matte, and just pop like a glittery inner corner. And now I'm just taking a teeny bit of Earth Shine, and I'm just going to use this to highlight my inner corners. I'm not using this wet, and you can see that it is super high shine, super pretty shadow. And lastly, I'll just be taking my ardency in modster eyeliner in the shade Coffee, and I'm going to use this to tightline my bottom lash line. I'm only going to tightline it at the outer third. I'm not going to bring it all the way in. So off camera just now, I tightlined my upper lash line, and I also just lined my lash line as well. But now I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to take a single black eyeshadow. ColourPop has some available. You might have other palettes that have a black shadow, but I'm just going to be taking this NYX one, and on an angled brush, I am just going to smoke out the outer wing and just kind of diffuse it into the outer corner. I'm first going to take an angled brush to really just smoke it out, and then I'll take a pencil brush and really diffuse it into the outer corner. And I'll also be bringing a little bit of that black on my lower lash line, just at the outer corner. Alright guys, so this is the first look completed. For my lashes, I am wearing the Boudoir lights from House of Lashes, and for my final lip pairing, I decided to go with the ultra glossy lip in the shade Aquarius, and I really like how this look turned out. It's definitely a look that I would wear. I've just been loving this new technique that I've been doing, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. So to get started with the second look, we're going to be taking the shade Fan Fiction once again, and this is going to be our transition shadow. I'm going to place that into my crease like usual, but I'm going to bring it all the way up to my brow bone. And if you're wondering why this look is a little bit more dramatic, I have contacts in for some reason, it's because I want to do the Bratz Doll challenge. I want to take a photo for my Instagram, so I thought this would be the perfect palette to do so. That's why it's a little bit more dramatic. I always do half cut creases, but I did add some other aspects, like little details, to make it a little bit more Bratz Doll-like. We're next going to be using the shade Sleeper, and I'm going to first put this at my outer corner because again that is where I want the most pigmentation to be, and then I'm slowly going to bring it into my inner crease, very similar to the first look. And now I'm gonna start cutting out my crease. So I am doing a little bit differently. It's still kind of the same concept. I am just bringing the cut crease a lot higher because I want my crease to appear a lot bigger. And I'm also gonna drag it all the way in to my inner corner. That way I'm kind of like creating a new inner corner. So usually I would just follow my natural eye shape, but this time I'm gonna take it a lot higher and I'm gonna drag it out into my inner corner. And always I will just take a thinner paintbrush just to define the crease a lot more as well. And then taking the shade Earth Shine, I'm going to be using this shadow wet. I'm going to place this right on top of that concealer, taking it all the way in to my inner corners, right to the center of my lid. And then I'll be taking the shade Bare Minimum, also using this shadow wet. I'm just going to place that right at the center of my lid, kind of where the shimmer and the matte are meeting. I just want to add a little pop of purple here as well, and it's just going to help blend those shadows together. Alright, so off camera I just gave myself a wing liner, a little bit more dramatic than usual because like I said, we're going for the Bratz look. And now it's time for the graphic liner. I'm going to take my NYX liquid liner, the black one, and I'm going to start from the outer wing and just bring it in to that crease line. So pretty much I'm just going to follow my natural curve of my eye until I meet the half cut crease that we created earlier, and literally I'm just going to go right under it, right into my inner corner. And then once you have that kind of base lining down, I'm going to take a black eyeshadow on a very small thin paintbrush, and I'm just going to go over that line just to kind of smoke it out, make it a little bit more thicker. And again, just taking that liquid liner, I'm gonna just create a little inner corner here, just like a little triangle, just to elongate my eyes to make them a little bit more, you know, like Bratz-like. Going back into the shade Sleeper, I'm gonna push this up against my lower lash line. I'm not gonna drag it down too far, but I'm just gonna make sure I'm pushing it right up against my waterline, since we are gonna put a white eyeliner in there. And I'm just gonna make sure I'm gonna connect it with the wing at the outer corner. That way it looks kind of like one whole eye look and not two separate things. And then I'm taking my Inglot gel liner in 76. This is the white. I'm gonna push that into my waterline. Alright guys, so this is the second look completed. For my lashes, I am wearing the iconic Lite from House of Lashes, and for my final lip pairing, I decided to go with the Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Boo. I know this look is very much out there and it's not for every day, but I just wanted to do something different, and I also really wanted to do the Bratz challenge. I'm gonna go off camera and like add a little bit of other things and redo my lip and that kind of stuff. So if you want to see like the final Bratz look, then just head over onto my Instagram. If you don't see it there, that means I messed it up, but if you see it there, that means I liked how it turned out. And now for the last look, I'm first going to take the shade Pretty Cruel, and this is going to be our transition shadow. And as always, I'm just popping that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions. And now moving on to the shade Sleeper, I'm gonna apply that all over my lid space close to my lash line, and then once I feel like all of the product is off my brush, I'm gonna slowly bring it towards the transition shadow. I'm also gonna be going back and forth with my first brush with Pretty Cruel on it, just to get the perfect blend. And now using the shade Mr. Sandman, I'm using this shadow wet. We're gonna place that right in the middle of our lid, slowly blending it towards the crease area, and then towards the outer and inner corners, you just wanna blend it out. Just want the most product right at the middle. That way, when it catches the light, it's really gonna shine through. And now going back into the shade Sleeper, I'm just gonna run this all over my lash line. And if you're wondering about my inner corner highlight, I did start off with Earth Shine from the palette, but I felt like if I put it in my inner corner, it would look too much like the first look. So I kind of took it off and went over it with the e.l.f. highlighter in Moonlight Pearls. I just thought I would let you guys know. And then of course taking my Ardency in Modster eyeliner in the shade Coffee, I'm going to use this to tightline my bottom lash line. Alright guys, so this is the last look completed. For my lashes, I am wearing the Boudoir Lights from House of Lashes, and for my lip pairing, I decided to go with the Ultra Blotter Lip in the shade Love Bite, and that pretty much completes this look. I know it was a very simple, very quick and easy to do, but I just love how glam and intense it still looks with the minimal steps, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this one as well. Alright guys, so this is going to conclude my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you guys did find it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up for me. I would appreciate it so much. As always, be sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Did you guys already get this palette? Are you gonna pick it up? Let me know what you guys think. But with that being said, that is it for today's video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!